for me because I have been very frustrated by how ProPresenter works in some ways, and so I'm making this tutorial for about the third or fourth time. Bear with me, I'm going to take a drink of coffee. Which can be a good thing to do when you get a little frustrated. Okay, so ProPresenter, to do sermon notes real quickly, as quickly as I can here. First, open ProPresenter. Bet you didn't guess that, right? This is a nag which you probably won't have to worry about. All right, this will probably pop up for you, which is very annoying. I don't know why it does it, but get rid of it. All right, this popped up to what I had been using before. We're going to ignore this, but for the moment I can't really get rid of it. So bear with me here. I'm going to go ahead and embiggen this screen. Annoys me here. All right, I'm going to do it this way. Okay. So, ProPresenter. Let's say you want to make sermon notes. First of all, you got a library here. There are several annoyances I found with ProPresenter. Not nearly as bad as MediaShout, but there are annoyances and things that just... Okay, so library, all right, sort by title. This is my library. However, the funny thing is sometimes ProPresenter calls library category. Why? Just to confuse you, I guess. So library is sometimes category, category is sometimes library, whatever, they're the same thing. All right, these are songs that I had already made and they stay here. All right, to filter your library, you can click on this cog. So near it says all. So everything that I have, it's going to show it, right? So show detailed rows. You can just do that. Wow, it's not a lot of detail there. But you can go ahead and filter this out. If I go to presentations, I will lose the last thing that I had here. But that's all I've got, or welcome stuff. All right, which came default. I don't need it, but you'll probably be with all, first time you're opening this up and stuff. So what you'll probably want to do here, is file, new. All right. So the new file name, this is going to be the name of, for example, whatever sermon notes you're trying to create. I'm going to skip this for now. We'll come back to it in just 1 second, but category. What we want to do to kind of clean up this and make things a little more neat, we want to make a new category. Like I said, category is library, library is category. Stupid, it's the way it is. Presentation and welcome stuff is all that's there. But click on that, you have new category. And so I would say something probably along the lines of sermon notes. Enter, all right? And the output resolution at the church is 1024/768, so I'll go ahead and click that. All right, so I want to make sure that's done. Template should be default right now, and it's probably a good idea for the moment. We can work on this later to make a sensible template for the sermon notes, but we don't have one at the moment, so I would say go with the default, which it should be set to already, I suppose. All right, and then you would want to make sure you go ahead and give your sermon notes a title. So 2018, and then 01 and 07 should be this Sunday, and message name. All right, and you can hit enter or hit new, and there we go. Now this library is all, so it should show me everything I have. Let's go back. Now we have a new category because we just created it, right? So come back here, hit sermon notes, and this is kind of cleaned up for us. Okay. There are two ways to make these slides now. I'm going to show you just from scratch. Okay. We've given it a name. All right. This is our first slide right here. That's what you got. Okay. What are you going to do with this? Not much. Right click and hit edit slide, or come up here and hit editor. All right. As it says, double click, well, one click is just to give your text box. Double click and you can edit it. Okay, this is our, oops. All right, this is our beautiful title. Now, maybe center that so you know your text over here. This is self-explanatory. Don't get bogged down in these numbers here. You know how it looks on your. As long as you set the resolution correctly, as I just said, 1024/768. What you see is what you're going to get. So resolutions make a difference. So the resolution is such that 41 is pretty good size. All right. If you want it larger, make it larger. Whatever. I think that's probably not too bad. I like to maybe center that, especially since it's the title. And then you can move this where you want. It was centered. Maybe that's not a bad idea. This is the text box. You can hit, adjust to fit. It will shrink that text box down to the text that you have. And then maybe you can move it to where you want. Maybe your title you'd want to have a little higher, something like that, okay? Of course you can, if you would so desire, hit enter and type in like the date, then type in the Japanese title or copy paste, whatever you want to do. You can do that in that text box. I don't particularly like to do that. I like to rather create a new text box, which defaults to this size, whatever. You can resize it manually or type what you want to type and then do it, whatever. So let's just say imagine Japanese title here. All right, go ahead and center this one as well. Click out, click back in and move it up a little bit more, something like that. Okay, you get the idea, right? We're good. Now the background is beautiful black. No, okay, it's not. This is something that for now I would advise we just keep things real simple. Over here, slide properties, it says enabled. This would just say that the slide is not enabled. You have the slide, but it's not going to show or something. You don't want to click that off. But background. Now the background is black anyway, but you can change color. And I'm just going to keep it extremely simple for now. I'm just going to choose a brown. I ain't going to mess with anything. That's the way it's going to be. Not going to put any fancy pictures or anything for the moment. We'll get to that later. All right, so just choose that color. Oops, and get rid of that. All right, so we've got our title page, whatever. Now, if you want to, keep fonts and things relatively the same, what I suggest, what you can do is you come over here and hit plus, and it will give you a new slide. But it's going to, if I do, I'll just do it real quick. But, see, it defaulted back to, what we had just a moment ago with this slide. So I'm going to delete that. And I would rather, and this is another little thing that's funky about ProPresenter. I don't like it. I wish I could right-click and left-click in here and do some stuff, but I can't. So what I want to do is right-click in that slide, then hit copy. And then again, I can't do anything here. So within this slide, I have to right click and hit paste. It'll actually give you a new slide. I don't see a duplicate key, although actually there may be one up here. Edit, duplicate. Okay, duplicate will work. All right, so you can do either way. You can go up here and hit duplicate. Actually, there's a, that should be Command Shift D. Let me make sure on that. I'm going to delete that. Go ahead and delete this one as well. So within here, I hit Command Shift and D. There you go. Actually, it's probably a good idea, right? But see, this is something you want to be careful of. As soon as you either copy paste, like I showed you originally, come up here and hit duplicate or Control Shift D. Either way you do it, what it's going to do is give you a new slide. So you're going to say, oh, cool, I'll go over here and do it. But don't do that because this is still the slide that's selected and you're going to edit your first slide unintentionally. Make sure after you make a new slide, you actually click on it and edit the correct one. Okay, so just be careful of that. That bit me in the rear end a couple times. So you're in here. Now this is a copy of the title page. You probably would want to come back over here to your text, do align left, I would imagine, and come in here and see, this is Tahuma regular. I'll tell you what, I'm going to delete that. I wonder if I can just Control-Shift-D this as well. Yeah, I figured another weird thing. It's not good. I'm telling you, there's some weird things about this Pro Presenter. Okay, so, Control-C and Control-V will copy and paste it. So, Migi click. Sorry. Yeah. So the only way you can really do it is if you've got this selected. Control-C to copy, Control-V to paste. All right. So now we know you've got the same font, got same, everything. And Imagine Japanese here. Right, well, I want to change this. So this, oops, that's not what I wanted to do. All right, so let's say, excuse me, 0.1. All right. And then double click and JP 0.1. All right. Now, obviously, this is not a Japanese font. It's probably a good idea to have both of these in a font that's Japanese. You can mix and match if you like, but it's probably a good idea to pick something that has, that's a Japanese font, and then just use the English on the top and the Japanese on the bottom. But whatever, do it however you wish. All right, click out of there. You don't have to. But we're on this slide, so this is a point slide. And so we'd want to duplicate that. So I'm going to hit Control. All right, I take that back. Still on Windows thinking. Command, Shift, and D, which will duplicate it. Again, be careful. Don't just go over here and start doing stuff. Make sure you're on the right place. All right, hit 2. Hit 2. All right. Make sure you're here. Command, Shift, D. All right. 3, Command Shift D, make sure you're in the right one. 4, Command Shift D, 5, okay. And that is it. That you've created your slide presentation. So, let's just say that that's it. That's done. Just hit this up here, and you're going to go back to, this is just showing your presentation. Now, what I want to do is I'm going to go back into Edit because I want to show you something to be careful of. However, I can't exactly show you. When I first got started Pro Presenter, for some reason, when I was creating my first slides, it was giving me some sort of object, some square. It was giving me something that I didn't want, and I was trying to get rid of it, and I couldn't for the life of me get rid of it. It was driving me crazy. What it was is, it was a box, basically, some sort of a box. It wasn't a text box, but it was a box of some sort, and I couldn't get rid of it. I had it selected, and I tried to hit delete. I tried everything. I couldn't get rid of it, no matter what I did. Then I noticed a lock up here, and it was locked. It was closed. So now I've just locked this, right? Right click on it, can't hit delete, that is not going anywhere. When I found that, I unlocked it, and of course I could delete it. So I'm going to hit delete on my keyboard, and it's gone. All right. So if you have something you can't get rid of, select down whatever it is you want to get rid of, make sure it's selected, and look for this lock. Unlock it, delete it, should be good. All right, just a warning in case you have that frustration, which I did. All right, so basically this is done. Okay, now what we want to do. For export purposes, let's just say this is done. Hey man, it's good. My slide, my sermon, it's there. Alrighty. we want to get this exported so we can get it imported into the machine that we're going to actually use for the presentation. Good. What I would suggest you do is playlist. I don't have one up here, but hit plus, and you're going to have a choice. You get a new document. If you hit new document, this is another little thing that doesn't make sense to me, but whatever. You can choose new document. If you do that, you're going to get a new presentation thing up here. But we want a new playlist. All right. All right. Name that. I would say sermon. All right, something like that. Whatever. Or you can maybe, I would say maybe something more like this week's sermon. All right, something like that. Maybe. It's a playlist. It's empty. This is this. These are your sermon note slides. Click and drag it. There you go. Now this is your playlist. All right. For sermon notes, it might seem like you shouldn't have to do this because it's just one presentation, and you probably don't. But I think for export purposes, it's probably a good idea to do this. If in the future you have not only your message but some other presentation that you're going to be making, either within the message or maybe after the message or before the message, whatever, you could do that. For whoever's running the presentation at the church, it might be good for them to go ahead and have a more comprehensive playlist. So not only the sermon notes, but also the worship list, the worship set. In that case, we would want to maybe change this name and, this week's service or something. And then within there, we'd have all of our presentations. All right. Okay. So, but for you, John, or whoever is doing the message, I would say that this is probably a good way to go. So we've created a playlist. What we want to do, right-click on that. Don't want to delete it. Now, if we do delete it, it's not a huge deal. If you hit that by mistake, it's just going to delete the playlist. It does not delete this. To delete this, you would have to right-click up here and delete this. All right, so whatever. Export playlist. One thing to be careful of. In these slides here, I don't have any, extra media, any JPEG backgrounds or anything like that. I don't have anything like that. But if I did, and if I did not have this clicked, it would not come on. It would not be exported along with the presentation. I would suggest just leave it clicked, just to be on the safe side. For this one, I don't really need it. But if I did have something in there, I would get to church and be like, oh no, which actually happened to me last week, because I did have a PowerPoint, or rather a PDF in my first slide, and I forgot to tick that, and I got to church and I had to recreate the first slide. So here you go, and it's going to give it the name This Week's Sermon, which is your playlist name, right? All right, go ahead and find your USB, whatever, which I have selected there, and go ahead and hit save. And I imagine that saved it out quickly enough. I'm going to go ahead and right click on it and delete it. All right. Now, let's well, never mind. All right. So you saved it, go ahead and, go through the whole, eject your USB and all that. Take it to the church, plug it into the actual presentation PC in this case instead of a Mac, right? So plug it in there, get ProPresenter running, come up here, File. Excuse me, I got out of ProPresenter there. So in ProPresenter, come up to File, Import File. There's some other things you want. Import File. From there, go to your, well, I'm already in my USB stick here. So it says This Week's Sermon. Click on that, import it. Now, this should not happen to you, at least with the sermons. at least if you have a unique name for your sermons each week. But this is telling me, hey, you've already got a presentation 2018-01-07 message name Pro 6. You've already got this. So it already exists in your library. Do you want to replace it with the one you're moving? I could hit add new version. It would probably add like a 1 in here or 2 in there or something. Or I can hit write over, so it will just write over this one. But in this case, I'll just skip it. Don't need to do that, right? Because I already have it. So now it just came in, hit on it, and it's there. All right? And that's it. Now, let me show you a different way to create this. I'm going to go ahead and delete the playlist. No, I'm not. I'm going to delete this from the playlist if I can. Why can I not? Reveal, print, resize, select an arrangement, reflow, document, remove. Oh yeah, remove. Okay, remove from playlist. Which is a better way to say it, because it isn't deleting anything. Okay. But I am going to go ahead and delete it anyway. I'm going to delete this. I take that back, I'm not going to. There's a reason. I'm going to show you a different way to do this, because you've probably already got your sermon notes in a Word document, right? So I don't use Word, but I've created something in Pages, all right? So I've pulled up Pages. So let's just say these are my sermon notes. Okay. Select it all. Command C, copy that, come back into Pro Presenter. From Pro Presenter, I can hit, before I do that, you notice I'm selected here? I can't select out of it. I wish I could, because it makes things a little bit confusing, okay? Don't worry about it. It's not going to overwrite anything, okay? In the future, if you need to do this. File, import. We don't want import file this time. We want import text from clipboard. So I just copied that text from the page document, which you would be copying from Word, I guess. So import text from clipboard. So slides delimited by paragraph break. You could also choose line break. We don't want that. We want, can we choose line break? Wow, okay. So we want paragraph break. Basically, 2 line breaks in a row equals a paragraph break. Okay, makes sense, right? And delimiters per slide, I'm not exactly sure. I mean, whatever. I ignore it. But okay, so our paragraph breaks are going to give us new slide. All right. Again, we want to choose the resolution. We can fix it if we forget to do this, but I'd rather not. Anyway, choose this from the beginning, I would say. Category, again, same as library, category, sermon notes. Now, basically you're set, and you could hit import, and if you do, you might be frustrated. Another stupid thing that I just found out. This is a bug. This is a bug in Pro Presenter. This should work. It doesn't. It will import it, but it's going to do something funny. It's going to frustrate you. So after you've set this up, hit edit. You don't have to change anything. You could come in here, and because this is going to give us some extra slides, and I'll tell you why in a second. You can do that. Also, and this is probably a good idea. If you want to, you can give it a title. You can change this later if you would like, but you don't have to. All I'm saying is, after we did what we just did on the last screen there, hit edit, and then hit import. Now, you just noticed this popped up with title, and we can start editing our presentation how we like. The reason I wanted you to hit that extra edit button, and then you didn't have to change anything, and then hit import, is because if you do not, again, this is a bug in Pro Presenter, it will not show up here. It is actually saving it. The program is actually saving it, and it's putting it in the wrong category, even though we already told it to put it into this sermon notes category. It won't go in there. It's a bug. It's got to be a bug. There's no reason for it. Okay. All right. So we've got it. We would probably want to retitle it, whatever. This title, by the way, came from the first line of this file. So if it was actually the title of your message, this would be the title of your message, which is not bad. That would actually be a decent way to work, I suppose. But anyhow, our paragraph breaks indeed did give us different slides. However, because you're going to be copying and pasting, and you're going to have more than just two paragraph, or more than one paragraph break between each of your points, it's going to give you some extra slides. Just select it, right click on it, delete it. Right click, delete. Right click, delete. Right click, delete. So we've got 5 points. Okay? We're good. Now, you're probably going to want to do some editing on this. You're going to want to change the background color and stuff, I suppose. So we're going to hit Edit, Editor, or we can right click and hit Edit Slide, which you can in fact edit all of them. And before you do anything much, let's try, well, I'll tell you what, let's try this. Oops, let's go ahead and select them all before you do individual stuff. Get the general things set first, I would say. So we're going to fix the background, and whatever, something like that. Unfortunately, it did not do all of them, which is not nice. I have all of them selected, but it didn't work. Well, let's see if this will work. Oops. So back in here, I'm going to hit Apply to All. Unfortunately, it's probably only going to apply to the text rather than the background. Yes, that is really unfortunate. Sadly, you're going to have to go into each one and change the background. If we're going to do the background color, make sure it's selected and choose whatever you want. Okay. I think there's another way to do this, but I'm not sure at the moment. All right. But, you'd probably want to go ahead and edit your title to make sure everything is nice. And you might want to edit your points and stuff as well. It's pretty straightforward, I think, self-explanatory. You would get out and say you've gotten it done. You would pull this down to your playlist and then save it out to USB, as I said before. If you need to retitle that, just click it and retitle. Yeah, so it retitled it. Okay, there we go. It just disappeared for a moment. Kind of scary. Okay, now let me see if I can change the background all at once by doing this. I don't know. So background, well, that's weird. That's so weird. That is so weird. I don't know why. This may not actually show up as orange. Let me see. Let me see. How does this work? Okay. So brown. I'm looking at this preview over here, right? Orange. Okay, it does do that. All right, if you want to change all of them at the same time, you're going to want to do it here. Unfortunately, it does not overwrite the background, which you had, which I had already put in there. So let me go back, right-click, edit slide, and here I would say background. I would just go like that, declick it, and then here, declick. All right, so get rid of the background here, and it should be set. So if you want to set the background all at the same time, you can do it here. This apparently is just for colors, although, well, yeah. So let's say that that's what we want. Not beautiful by any means, but again, the basics, right? All right. So I want to check one little thing here. If I change background here, okay. This is a universal color dealie. So before I had selected all of these and changed the color, and I thought that's why they all changed, but it's not the case. This just automatically changes the whole thing here. This is universal. All right, so those are some very basics. Now, get out of here, come down here. Actually, I'll just do it here. So video image, it's gonna toggle this little deal on here. Backgrounds, foregrounds, subtle, high, these are just, you know, different categories, but these are some defaults or presets, whatever that came with Pro Presenter. Now, there's some really ugly stuff in here, but whatever. I'm gonna click and drag this up here. Now you see that this gave this a background. It didn't change over here yet. It'll change in a second. Maybe. All right. So if I have it set to this first one here, it's gonna actually apply to all of them. Just to let you know. Now, there are some rather ugly ones here, I think, but some of them are not too bad. But there are very few. We'll work on some just for Hope Chapel. We might already have some, but anyway, later. If you need to get rid of that, right-click on it, hit Remove Q, image sound. Well, remove Q, and then whatever that says. Okay. All right. It didn't disappear here yet. Well, this is so annoying. Anyway, clear background. Background clear. All right. But basically, we did the copy, or rather we, just imported from the clipboard. Yes, we got some extra slides. I wanted to show you this. You see what I said about two line breaks being a paragraph break. Point 1 is very long here, and then we hit enter, and then Japanese would go below that, but it's only one enter, so it's only one line break. Therefore, we did not get a new slide on that. Between here and point 2, of course, we had, well, more than 2 line breaks, so it treated it as a new paragraph and gave it a new slide. Same here, and here. So that's pretty good and quick. I think you can get a lot. Things get done pretty quickly there, like that. So there you go. So let's see, you've got it done. Click that, drag it down. You can drag it into here, into your playlist. Right-click, export playlist, export it to your thumb drive, save it, and take it to church and import it, and you got it. I mean, those are basics. I don't know what else you might need to know. Take it easy. Goodbye. Let me just say, my Pro Presenter annoys me very much most of the time when I quit. So I hit quit. Are you sure? Yes, I really am sure. And then you have 3 Pro Presenter 6 documents with unconfirmed changes. Do you want to review these changes before quitting? Save and quit. Review changes, whatever. Save and quit. That's about it. Sorry it's so long.